Tonight, Bill, I knew.
Good day to you all. Are you here for some of that news? You got it, now buckle up. Ready? That dirty cop, Robert Mueller, who is currently rehearsing his urgently required, old-age dementia routine, is back in the news again, and this time, ironically kind of like the last time, still not a Russian in sight. Robert Mueller is being accused of participating in a cover-up that involved some hijackers, some planes, 2 towers and Saudi Arabia, which Robert Mueller doesn't seem to want to talk about. Now why is that, I wonder? Maybe it's because the filthy cop is being accused of a major cover-up, and if true confirms the claims that Robert Mueller was nothing more than a hatchet man for the globalist deep state. According to a new report, Mueller stonewalled FBI agents after evidence was discovered that multiple, systematic efforts were made by the Saudi government to assist hijackers in the lead-up to the devastating attacks. Mueller is being accused of covering up evidence which pointed back to Saudi Arabia and also misleading the U.S. Congress. In October of 2001, Robert Mueller shut down the government's investigation after only 3 weeks, and then took part in the Bush administration's campaign to block, obfuscate and generally stop anything leaking out about Saudi Arabia's involvement in the attacks. Multiple FBI case agents are now coming out in their numbers with all kinds of cover-up claims linked to Robert Mueller, with Agent Mark Rossini stating that the Saudis were left off the hook by order of the Bush White House. Time and time again, agents were called off from pursuing leads back to Saudi Arabia's embassy in Washington, as well as the consulate in Los Angeles, where FBI agent Stephen Moore headed a task force looking into local contacts made by a total of 15 Saudi Arabian hijackers. In an affidavit lawsuit, Moore concluded that diplomatic and intelligence personnel of Saudi Arabia knowingly provided material support to the 2 hijackers and facilitated the plot. Yet Moore says that he and his team were not allowed to interview a single one of them. In Washington, former FBI agent John Guandolo, who worked cases out of the Bureau's D.C. office, said the then Saudi ambassador, Prince Bunda, should have been treated as a serious suspect, for giving money to a woman who funded two of the hijackers. But the prince was never interviewed. Instead, Mueller agreed to help evacuate dozens of Saudi officials from the US, at the request of the prince. Mueller assured their safe passage to planes, using agents as personal escorts to ensure their escape. That's according to FBI documents obtained by Washington watchdog Patriots, Judicial Watch. The agents should have been interrogating the Saudis, but instead were ordered to act as their personal bodyguards. In 2002, Mueller prevented agents from arresting a Saudi-sponsored al-Qaeda cleric, who privately counseled the Saudi hijackers. That's according to Raymond Fournier, an agent with the Joint Terrorism Task Force in San Diego at the time. Mueller was responsible for vacating the arrest warrant for Anwar al-Awlaki for passport fraud, even ordering agents who had already detained the cleric to release him into the custody of a Saudi representative. The FBI then closed their investigation of al-Awlaki, who was then allowed to leave on a plane. At the same time, Mueller removed a veteran agent from investigating a tip that an advisor to the Saudi royal family had met with some of the hijackers at his home in Florida, and by doing so, effectively killed the case. And just 2 weeks before the attacks, coincidentally, and rather suddenly, the home was abandoned. Mueller also gave a very misleading testimony in a closed-door hearing back in October of 2002. When he claimed he had found out about Saudi's connections to the attacks only as a result of the Joint Inquiry's investigative work, but according to Mueller had given daily briefings on such connections in 2001. Time and time again, Mueller put up roadblocks, restricted agents, and continuously covered up and lied about what he actually knew, on behalf of the very corrupt Bush administration. This conduct, this pattern of behavior is not only unlawful, but it is absolute treason against the very people the likes of Robert Mueller is supposed to protect. Yet another example of how our systems, that we pay for, are run by lawless criminals of the lowest order. As the world turns, the likes of Robert Mueller and all the other deep state hacks are continuously being exposed for the true criminals that they are, and as the evidence pours out, it is up to all of us to ensure that the information is passed around. This is a report that people can check out for themselves, in order to build a clearer picture of what Mueller really is, and exactly what he's done. Now you might recall, just a few shows ago, that I mentioned an MIT director linked to Epstein called Joy Ito, a professor who sat on the board of PureTech Health. That was until Saturday. That's because Ito has suddenly but rather expectedly stepped down from the board of directors because of his financial links to child trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Joy Ito, who is also a board member of the New York Times since 2012, wrote in an email to the provost of MIT, Martin Schmidt, saying, "After giving the matter a great deal of thought over the past several days and weeks, I think it is best that I resign as director of the Media Lab and as a professor and employee of the institute, effective immediately." It was only last week that Ito had to acknowledge accepting a $525,000 donation from child trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, as well as $1.2 million for his personal investment funds. Ito has been desperately trying to conceal his relationship with Epstein, but it seems the floodgates have opened and Ito has got caught in the spill. Now Epstein was listed as being disqualified from the MIT's official database, but the Media Lab continued to accept gifts from the pedophile, and also continued consulting with Epstein about the use of funds and marked the pedophile's continued contributions as anonymous, to avoid disclosing their full extent, both publicly and within the university. Epstein appears to have been an intermediary between the lab and other, very wealthy donors, soliciting millions of dollars in donations from individuals and organizations, which includes the likes of philanthropist Bill Gates and the investor, Leon Black. Ito, who took over the lab in 2011, also apologized in an email to the lab community by writing, "While this chapter is truly difficult, I am confident the lab will preserve." Over his tenure at MIT, Ito helped raise over $50 million in donations, which gave him a rock star reputation within the university. But since his extensive links with Epstein have started pouring out, Ito has seen his reputation begin to decay at a very rapid rate, which is why he has decided to step down. Okay, now brace yourselves, this is a bit of a strange tale to tell. The absurd Swedish, lunatic behavioral so-called scientist, Magnus Söderlund has suggested that eating people after they have died could be the way forward in the liberals' make-believe world, where they want to fight the weather, each other, and just about everything else. Why? Well, probably because of feelings, which they call climate change. Anyway, this real-life, mad scientist, who is the kind of lunatic they base Cartoon Network characters on, is trying to promote cannibalism. Yes, I know, it sounds like I'm making this up and I kind of wish I was, but I'm not. The crazy loon appeared on Swedish TV during a segment that was discussing the food of the future somewhere in Stockholm, where he was talking about his latest prepared seminars entitled The Gastro Summit, which is all about the future of food, with Magnus bringing forward the discussion of eating dead humans in the name of cutting down greenhouse emissions. I kid you not. And Magnus, the lunatic, claims that, according to his research, the main problem with this idea is the widespread taboo of eating human flesh caused by, wait for it, conservative attitudes. Not the fact that it's evil, out of bounds, inhumane and downright disgusting. Oh no, apparently the biggest problem as far as opposition to cannibalism is concerned is those damn conservatives and their attitudes. Wow. Now, this crazy lunatic scientist isn't the only one who thinks that human flesh should be on the menu. That other crazy loon, so-called evolutionary scientist, the God-hating Richard Dawkins, who advocated for laboratory-grown meat, with the suggestion that it could be used as a tool to overcome our taboos against cannibalism. What a psychopath. So, there you go, the globalist-funded and very controlled scientists are pushing the narrative of bringing everything that is evil into society, so that all of us can be a bit more like they are, empty, hollow and lost with all the lights gone out. Not a chance. Oh yes. It's time for yet another edition of Idiot of the Week. As you can well imagine, it isn't so easy to narrow these idiots down to one, as there are so many of them lurking about these days. But this week's winner has been around for way too long, so before he leaves this mortal coil to take a deep dive into the murky pits of hell, I wanted him to win the only award he's ever deserved. Our winner is none other than the shamed and disgraced film director, Little Woody Child Becker Allen. How did I pick this week's winner, I don't hear you ask? Well, just days after that professional liar, otherwise known as an actress, that little bit dim, starlet not so handsome on the inside, made headlines for defending our crinkly old winner in the latest nonsense-filled Hollywood Reporter's cover story, which you probably haven't read, because you hopefully aren't that stupid. When the attention addict, who recently took part in a woman's march for the infanticide nightmare that is Planned Parenthood, once again sold herself out for any role she can, when she said that she believed in Woody's innocence and that she would love to work with him any time. That's because starlet not so handsome doesn't seem to mind what kind of attention she attracts, as this latest noise from her stupid mouth is causing quite the effect. Bad timing? Yeah, maybe. Starlet and her stupid mouth noise came after this week's winner, little Woody Child Becker, spoke out about the unfair backlash he has had from the pink pussy crank movement, #MeToo, and believes that he should be their poster boy, or in his case, crinkly old man. That very odd little Woody Child Becker Allen thinks that he should be the poster boy for Me Too because of his impressive track record of working with actresses, saying, "I've worked with hundreds of actresses and not one of them ever complained about me, not a single complaint." Well now, let's just stop right there and investigate little Woody Child Becker's claims. So who is Mia of the Pharaoh? Is she Woody's ex-wife? And is she an actress? Well, yes, I think she is. And has this Mia of the Pharaoh, who is, or was, an actress ever made a complaint about, "I got me some Woody I have, Alan"? Yes, I think she has. And was that complaint about little Woody Child Becker molesting her 7-year-old child Dylan? Oh dear, well that escalated fast. You see, the numbskulls who dwell in the fake world of the Hollywood illusion makers, that place where professional liars are paid millions to convince you they are someone and something that they are not, really do not know how to switch off from their fake characters. I mean, is little Woody Child Becker thinking that he can just develop a new character for himself, like we wouldn't notice, hoping we'll all go along with it and forget that he is an accused molester of children? Does he think that being accused of molesting his adopted 7-year-old daughter is something we can simply ignore? And does he also think that we can get past the fact that he eventually married Mia of the Pharaoh's other daughter, Soon-Yi? Yes, I think he does. And let us not forget who little Woody Child Becker Allen's choice of company to party with is, the likes of child rapist and trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, and, let's not forget, Her Majesty's favorite boy, the carnal calamity that is Prince Andrew. Yeah, that's right, he parties with a den of pedophiles. And why on earth would anyone in their right mind want to be the poster boy of such a toxic, turns out it's actually bad for women movement they call #MeToo? The mind boggles. Which is why it has become clear that Woody has stumbled upon new territory, a place where new levels of idiocy have been discovered. And this is why, my dear brothers and sisters, little Woody Child Becker Allen is this week's winner. To convince yourself you are something you are not is one thing, and let's face it, he isn't the only one who does that. But thinking that others are just as stupid as you are is confirmation that their self-awareness is non-existent, which lowers them to a level of stupidity that is, oh so worthy of our recognition. Or is that our concern? Whatever. So today, I can proudly announce that little Woody Child Becker Allen has finally won this bad stain on his character, which is the only award he's ever deserved, and that is the official TVVC Idiot of the Week award. You're welcome.